So I wanted to get into this a little bit. Lakers Magic obviously getting a great deal of attention. The Lakers the Lakers and the Bucks both losing, the Magic and the Trailblazers both winning, and that obviously is unexpected results, at least early, for both of the one seeds in the East and the West. But the fallout from the Big Ten's disastrous decision to end college football in the fall continues to grow, and we have a huge number of listeners in the state of Hawaii. Probably in the state of Hawaii. I don't know. Aloha, if you're listening to us early in the morning in Hawaii, in the state of Ohio. And when you look at the decision that was made by Governor Mike DeWine in Ohio, he is now allowing high school football in the state of Ohio. So I got to be honest with you. I would like to hear from some Buckeye fans. I'm opening up the phone line. I would love to hear from Buckeye fans. I'd love to hear from Penn State fans, from Nebraska fans, from Iowa fans, Michigan fans. When you look at the state of Iowa, when you look at the state of Ohio, when you look at Pennsylvania in particular, I just want to walk you through some of the conflicts that are out there as it pertains to what's permitted and what's not permitted, and the chaos that the Big Ten shutting down has created. So just follow me along here. Iowa is going to play high school football. They have already played high school baseball. Their high school baseball season finished with nearly 30,000 fans present for the tournament, a 5-year high. 96% of teams finished the season. 94% did not have any outbreaks at all in the state of Iowa in high school baseball. They are playing high school football. Crazily, if you are an Iowa State fan, your team is going to be able to play a full season without issues in theory at all in the Big 12. Meanwhile, Iowa Hawkeye fans are not going to be able to watch their team play at all. So you've got high school football going on. You've got the ability of the local Big 12 team to play. Iowa itself can't play. All right, let's move on to Ohio. In Ohio now, you're going to have high school football going on. You're going to have, let's count them and pretend they're real NFL teams, the Browns and the Bengals both playing in the state of Ohio. And you have the Cincinnati Bearcats playing, but the Ohio State Buckeyes, which arguably are the team that is the most popular in the entirety of the state of Ohio because it tends to unite almost everyone, are not playing. Okay? In Pennsylvania, you have everybody playing at Pitt in the ACC. You have, I believe, check on this, Dub, and make sure, Temple playing in Philadelphia. You don't have Penn State, which is the most powerful and popular football team in college football in the state playing. But, oh, by the way, you have the Eagles and the Steelers both playing as well. What I'm getting at is the decision by the Big Ten not to play looks incredibly arbitrary and capricious. And if I were in the state of Nebraska, or if I were in the state of Iowa, or if I were in Ohio, or I was in Pennsylvania, or I was in Michigan, and I'm seeing all of this happen, I would file a lawsuit arguing that the Big Ten didn't follow proper protocol in shutting down the season, and that as a result, the schedule that they laid out for the Big Ten teams should be in effect, and that the season should be ongoing. What were the protocols required? Because the stories that are coming out of the Big Ten right now, the storyline seems to reflect that nobody right now is actually sure of what the decision was to allow these games to take place. In other words, no vote may have taken place. Are we sure that the Big Ten followed proper protocols in order to shut down the season? If I am involved in any kind of connection to Ohio State, to Nebraska, to Michigan, to Penn State, to Iowa, any of the schools that have been the most aggressive in saying there's no way to justify shutting down the Big Ten season, just look at these different states. Iowa, if it's safe enough for Iowa State to play? And if it's safe enough for high school kids all over Iowa to play, how can the Iowa Hawkeyes not play? Nebraska, same thing. Ohio, high school, pro, even some college teams playing. If I'm in the state of Pennsylvania, how is it safe for Temple to play and for Pitt to play, but yet the Penn State Nittany Lions can't play, not to mention all the NFL teams that are playing? I would legitimately consider filing a lawsuit arguing that the Big Ten did not properly shut down and cancel the fall college football season. I think there would be a lot of support for it, and I think if you got the right judge in your state, it's possible you might be able to get a restraining order against the decision to cancel the season, and or you might require the Big Ten to at least publicly take a vote and put every university president on the record for what their true position is. I want to see, and I've been arguing this ever since this story started, I want these university presidents to have their feet held to the fire. I want them to actually have to come out and publicly make a vote so that everybody can hold them accountable for their positions. That is what should happen in the Big Ten. But I'm opening up the phone lines to allow Big Ten fans to weigh in. You never would have believed that your boy Clay Travis was going to turn into the biggest fighter for Big Ten football in the entire country. But 2020 has created all sorts of strange realities. And here it is, of everybody in the media, I'm defending the Big Ten the most. I want to hear from Big Ten fans. 877-996-6369. What do you think about this absurdity? We're breaking down everything. Loaded show headed your way of Big Ten fans. Want to weigh in? Let's go ahead and dive right into those calls. I'll start with you, Danny G. Who you got on the Outkick VIP line?
Fred in Florida.
Fred, what you got for me?
Hey, how's it going? Good morning, gentlemen.
Going great. Appreciate it. What you got for us?
I don't watch a lot of college football, but I can say that this is just obviously about money, not the virus. And is that commissioner trying to save face as far as a financial loss and just kind of not caring about the students and the lives he's affecting by that poor decision to cancel football just so he can protect the bottom line to keep a job his first year? Thank you very much. I love the show.
Look, what I have heard is that Kevin Warren wants to be the commissioner of the NFL one day. And I think he has convinced himself that by being, and that's Kevin Warren is the commissioner of the Big Ten, I think that he has convinced himself that by being the guy who is brave enough to shut down the Big Ten, I think he has bought into the fear porn that was sold to him that frankly isn't accurate about myocarditis and all the dangers that could come from playing college football. And again, the irony is his own son is playing football for Mississippi State this fall. So if his own son is playing in the SEC this fall, how in the world can he not allow other Big Ten athletes to make the same decision that his son is making? Who should we go to first on your calls, Dub?
We got Dave in Ohio.
Dave, what do you think about Ohio State being shut down in the Big Ten in general?
Hey, Clay, Dave, I think it's bullcrap that Ohio State gets shut down, and I don't know what's going on with these commissioners, but Governor DeWine made sure we're playing football in high school football, and I grew up in Versailles, Ohio, and I know that's we were a big-time football school.
Yep. Well, thanks for the call. Look, I mean, my point on this is if I live in Iowa and I look around and say, and I'm a Hawkeye fan, and I look around and say, wait a minute, how can Iowa State play and every high school in the state can play football, but my Hawkeyes can't play? I'm furious. And if I live in Ohio and I say, wait a minute, Cincinnati, the Bearcats are playing, we've got the Browns and the Bengals both playing, and every high school in the state is able to play, how in the world can my Buckeyes not play? And if I'm in Pennsylvania and I'm a big Nittany Lion fan, Penn State fan, I'm looking around, I'm like, wait a minute. Eagles are playing. Steelers are playing. We got Temple playing. We got Pitt playing. And the Nittany Lions can't play? And if I'm in Nebraska, my God, I'm really losing my mind because they've hardly had any impact from the coronavirus at all in the state of Nebraska. And Cornhusker football is their lifeblood. I went out and bought my own T-shirt in Nebraska Cornhusker colors because I support how aggressive Scott Frost and the governor and everybody else there has been about the fact that college football needs to happen. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking all this stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Who's next, Dub? I'd be thinking about lawsuits, and at the top of the hour, there's a report that's pretty wacky that I'm going to get to about what several different Big Ten schools are considering doing. But who's up next, Dub?
We got Tim in Tennessee.
Tim, what do you think?
Morning, Clay. How are you?
Excellent.
Clay, I played football for the Hawkeyes back in 1981 to 1985, and so I agree with you about the Iowa State comparison. The pressure seems to be growing on the Big Ten, the presidents, the commissioner, on an hourly basis. I'm hopeful that the Big Ten comes to their senses over the next couple of days and play. But if they decide not to, I hope the Big 12, the ACC, the SEC go on to have successful seasons, that the players and the coaches remain safe and healthy, and I hope they have the chance to shove it right up the Big Ten's rear end, because they're going to look foolish for making this decision.
Would you have ever believed as a Big Ten former player at Iowa that you'd be rooting for the ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC to make the Big Ten look foolish?
Never, not once, but I hope they do. I mean, it's a ridiculous decision by Kevin and the rest of these presidents. I agree they need to be held accountable. If, in fact, they did not vote, that's a terrible look. But certainly my love and loyalty are always to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But I'm going to watch college football this year, and it sounds like it won't be for my Iowa Hawkeyes or the rest of the great teams in the Big Ten.
Now, let me ask you this. You said you played from 81 to 85. I'm sure you still talk to some of your former teammates. Do they pretty much feel the same as you do in your conversations with them?
We're 100% in agreement that the Big Ten should be playing football. No doubt about it.
I appreciate the call. Thanks for calling in and give us your perspective. Who's up next, Dub?
All right, we got Ben in Iowa. Oh, excuse me.
Ben, you're in.
He just dropped. Let's go to Ryan in Ohio.
Ryan in Ohio. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Excellent.
Hey, yeah, I think it's a bunch of crap here. I mean, it's, diehard Buckeye fan, and I mean, if Ohio ain't the best, state for football, I mean, it's one of the best, and it's just, we're letting high school athletes go out there, but we can't let college athletes go out there. It just, and you're talking about their livelihoods. I mean, some of these guys need this season to go on to the next level. It just doesn't make any sense.
Thank you for the call. I get it. And we have got a wild potential proposal that is out there from a journalist who has been covering Ohio State for a long time and is pretty plugged in. I'm going to read what he has put out about a rebellion that is brewing in the Big Ten, and you are going to be like, oh my God, this would be unbelievable to see. What are some of the schools, Ohio State, Iowa, Nebraska, Penn State, Michigan, maybe Wisconsin, all thinking about doing? I'm going to tell you next, and this would be a blockbuster indeed.